Hi guys, this is my Devo7 controller. I realize there's already a couple of videos out on YouTube, but I decided to go ahead and make a video here that'll be all inclusive. I'll try to explain everything that I can as I'm going. It'll be a little bit long, so I'll make this a couple of part video, but this should hopefully help clear up a lot of the questions that people have about this controller and help you get started in it. I have my mini CP, so I'll be showing the settings for this, but I will try to explain the differences if you have a different helicopter, where those differences might be. So I've already went ahead and turned on the controller. I have a mode 2 controller. That means that this one here is pitch, up, down. This is tail, left, right, this here, and this is actually right would tilt the helicopter to the right, left to the left, up would tilt it forward, and down would tilt it backwards. So that is the mode 2 controller. I try to set up everything. I don't use these switches that much, so I try to set up everything that I either deactivate these switches or I set them up so that way if I accidentally switch between them that it remains the same. This switch I use for throttle hold, and this switch I use for flight mode. Flight mode 1, this is normal mode in the back. That means that this is actually activates your throttle and your pitch together. When you flip it one up, I have it set, I think 80%, I'm not sure, throttle. So it's always, the blades are always spinning, and then this just changes your pitch, which causes you to go up or down. And using these modes, flight mode 1, flight mode 2, I think is just a higher throttle, 90% I believe, is what I have it set. You can set it however you feel like. And I have that set, so then this changes the pitch, up, down. By doing this, if you want to fly upside down, which you may have seen, you just simply go push down and it sends you up, and up will send you down. Pretty basic there. Okay, this knob I actually have activated, and I believe I found a bug in the system here. I haven't changed it yet. I'm going to go ahead and I'll describe that whenever I get to this point. But at one point I set this to be my gyro, and now I can't change it back. But that way I can play with the gyro, and you should be able to switch it back. So I'll show you where that is. The only way I could do it is I can set up another model and go through my settings. I just haven't done that yet. So now to get on with the menus, one other thing before I get there. These trims you should never really have to use, not for a 6-channel helicopter. For a 4-channel you might want to in some instances, but you shouldn't. Oh, I should not have changed those. But you shouldn't have to use these at all. So let's see if we can get a good view here. So if you hit enter, back you can see system is one of them. Function, blinking, and model. So these are 3 different things. I'm going to go ahead and start with system because that's basic. Now you see here it says throttle at 0%. Right now that just shows you what the throttle it would be at. I can move my stick up. This 230 is actually what I set my timer at. The mini CP is notoriously bad for battery life, but batteries are cheap, so you can get a bunch of them and fly. System here, go in, display, you can just adjust how bright it is. when it times out. Actually, let me go ahead and up that so we don't keep having the lights go out. Timeout, 45 seconds. The light is at 4 out of 10. I think that's good, probably for this video. Maybe 3. And that's it, basic stuff. Buzzer, you can turn it on or off. Off, on, you hear it beeping. I'm going to leave it off because it's a little bit annoying for me. This is usually enter, so if you make a change, you want to hit enter before you exit. So if I want buzzer, I go enter. This one typically changes you, right now you don't have other things, but this will typically change, let's say if there's more than one thing, state, and this will actually adjust what that is. Not always, but that's kind of how they do their menus here. Stick mode, as I mentioned earlier, I have a, let me see that, let's see. As I mentioned earlier, I have a mode 2 controller. And this is what I mentioned earlier. There's 2 and 4 use these, so you can see how it springs back that way but stays this way, and this one springs back. And 1 and 3, I think they swapped these two, I'm not quite sure. I know in some countries they use different modes, but typically in the US mode 2 is good. I like mode 2, it gives you, it seems to make sense to me, I don't know why, but, so you want mode 2, exit out of there. Let's see, calibration, that's, I believe is to calibrate these sticks. I haven't messed with it much. About it, I'll just tell you the firmware version that you're using, running on this. I probably should update my firmware, maybe that'll fix that bug that I had. And, okay, exit out of there. Let's see, it still isn't quite visible enough, is it? So that's all the system here that we have. Now, let's see, switch that, goes to model, hit enter. Maybe if I lower that line down again, let me try and just lower that. Display. Yeah, that's too bright. Let's go down to 1. Oh, that's much better. Alright. Exit, and system is blinking again. We'll go to model, enter. This is just, you can have a bunch of different models in there for different helicopters. So my mini CP can be in there, V400, all the different Devo versions. So go back, and you can rename them. You name them here. You just kind of go through your systems there. Copy, this is to copy a model. So let's say I get another mini CP and I want to set a different model, or if I get my V400 DO2 and I want to start with my basic settings here, I can copy them over to a different model and then go and change in that model what I want. Transmit, you can actually copy from this transmitter to somebody else's transmitter, all of your settings, your entire menu settings. And that's to receive somebody else's menu settings. And to reset everything to your factory default. Type, helicopter or airplane. Currently I only fly helicopters. I do plan on getting into airplanes later, but this controller will do airplanes too. You just have to get the right receiver. Step, right now I have all of these on 4 out of 20. For now, if you're watching this video, then probably just go ahead and leave it at that. I haven't messed with this too much. There are some things that does, but it's not too important at this point. Input, this adjusts all of your switches. See all these switches. So flight mode switch, FM, SW, flight mode switch, flight mode. That's this one up here. And you want that probably on flight mode. You, see if I move this, I can change it. Flight mode, mix, flight mode is what I want. Flight mode trim. I haven't messed with this one actually. Oops. Hold switch, you want on hold, that's this one up here, that's important. If you're about to crash, flip it and it'll stop your blade from spinning and hopefully minimize the damage that you have on there. So that's it, your flight mode. And this is somewhere in here is where you'll see something else that says gyro in these, and I changed gyro to my aux 2 at one point just because I wanted to play with it using this knob. You can see it says aux 2 and it won't let me switch back, and that's where the issue is. So I actually adjust my gyro, and whenever gyro in here only means tail gyroscope, and all these other gyroscopes here can be adjusted usually on the receiver itself. But in the controller, it's only your tail gyro when it talks about gyroscope. So here, gear. You can change your gear switch to aux 2. This is usually if you have to throttle hold, DR, mix, flight mode. Let's go ahead and leave that at gear. Yeah, so yours might look a little different, but I suggest just leave all these where they're at. They should come set up good, but just make sure your throttle hold and your flight mode are the correct. Your Swash, so for the Mini CP and the V400, you want one normal. There's a lot of other ones that will use 3 120. Even though you have three servos all at 120 degrees on this, your receiver in here actually does the mixing for you. So you don't have to worry about changing that. So one normal. The most important is to make sure that your swash plate moves correctly. When you move this to the right, your swash plate should tilt to the right. When you move it to the left, your swash plate should tilt to the left. Forward, back. When you go up, the whole thing should go up. Down, the whole thing should go down. Your swash plate is this little guy right here. And that, however that moves, your helicopter will move. For most helicopters. I can't say 100%, but all of mine do. So if this moves up, your helicopter moves up, down, down, so on and so forth. So that is important. The most important thing is to make sure that that occurs. And so one normal. Amplify, I haven't messed with this one, I just leave it on +20. Fixed ID, you can, if you have a lot of helicopters and you don't want to accidentally pick the wrong one, or if you fly with other people and you're all turning on your transmitters at the same time, you can switch to a fixed ID and set an actual number, and that will help you, so you only bind to the helicopter that you want. So if you accidentally pick helicopter 4 instead of helicopter 2, it won't bind. It'll only bind to the one that you want. One good thing about this too is that Walkera receivers seem to take a long time to bind. So for my 3GX, I actually had to set a fixed ID in order for the gyroscopes to work. So if you're using something like a 3GX with a Devo, I recommend setting a fixed ID if you're having weird issues with your gyroscopes. And that's it for model. And for function, I will do a separate video here. This one's getting rather long. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I will go into the function side of things, which has throttle curves, pitch curves, and so on and so forth. So